Good morning, everyone. So someone had asked to see the chairs that I'm working on right now. So you can see that's the chair that's what it looked like when we got it. It's someone's style, but it's not my style. And this is where I'm at so far. So I've stained the seat, and the seat, after all the painting is done, will get sanded and waxed. There's quite a bit of, this is upholstery, and then if you come around to the back, you can see that the back is also upholstered. So, I've stained it, and then when I'm done painting the chairs, I will give that another fine sand with some 400 grit sandpaper to make it really soft, and then I'll wax it. When you stain fabric that has like a feel to it, like this does, you will get the feeling because there's like the indentations to the pattern. Do you know what I mean? You'll get that, you'll see that still in your fabric. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me a bit. And then, yeah, it's been primed, and yesterday it got its first coat of gray. And then today hopefully today it will get another coat of gray, and hopefully that will dry quick enough so that I can do my detail work, because there's details that I want to highlight. Lots of little details in there, and then I'll give it the white. So when it was primed, it really kind of gave me an idea of what it will sort of look like when it's done, because obviously it was primed in white. But it's going to have these two good coats of gray before I can go on to the rest of it. And once I'm done painting it, I will urethane the heck out of it. 4 good solid coats to protect it and to make it just really easy to wash and wipe down. And yeah, that'll be that. So I'll show you as it goes. But you're coming in a little late on the project, but that's what it looked like. So you wanted me to share, so I'm sharing with you. But it's crazy how you can just, I'll tell you, once the cushions were changed, once I stained those cushions, before I even touched the chair itself, what a difference it made. Like, it's crazy. But anyways, it's fun. It's fun bringing things to life that way, All right, you guys, so now I'm going to turn you around. Excuse me, I've got to set you in the tripod. So let me flip the camera, stick you in there, and everything blacks out on you. And let me just get you set up in the tripod. Bear with me a minute, you guys. I have to plug you in, or I'll lose my battery. I hope everyone is doing well. It is a very dreary morning here. It snowed last night, and now it's raining. Just as they promised it would. I think I got you plugged in here. And I just want to make sure that you're in there. Snug, safe and sound. And then I gotta angle you. So that you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. Remove my coffee. So, there, I shared with you folks. First thing I want to say is don't follow any links in either of in the comment section of either of my channels from anyone soliciting you for anything. It's not me. It's not the people they're claiming to be. It's scammers. Don't do it. Secondly, the healing intentions are set for you folks as per the usual. So if you so choose and you want them, decree that for your highest and greatest good, only and always. Breathe that in through your nose. Feel that energy integrating into your body. Breathe out through your mouth, and do that for as long as you want. Just keep pulling that energy in and just let it integrate. All right, so today we're going to do another reading. Alright, so I'm just going to make myself clear. Just going to let you guys in on a few things here. So, in my lifetime, I was not built to take shit. I was the youngest of 5 kids. And you had to grow some pretty broad shoulders pretty quickly in life, right? So I'm not really one to put up with somebody giving me a bunch of crap. I don't tolerate it. I have pretty good boundaries there. And that's how it's always been. And then, you know, as I grew and started working on myself, my boundaries became even more sturdy and significant, right? So the way I see things, you know, where when I was young, I used to just kind of blow a nut on people if they started screwing with me. Now, I understand that if somebody is being reactive with me when I really haven't done anything for that, I understand that that person is being triggered from some emotional response, something within them that needs healing. However, and I have compassion for that. However, just like I've had to do that inner work myself to find my own triggers and not run around through the world, going around, acting snippety, bitchy, snide, rude, because I have all of these unhealed emotional wounds that need attention and healing, and so I'm easily triggered, and I take it out on people rather than looking within at what might be my own issue for me to be so triggered over something. I did that work, right? So I see when people are triggered. However, that doesn't mean that my compassion for you having unhealed wounds that trigger you will have me saying, oh yes, please, you know, shit on me some more, or be rude some more, or wipe your feet on my back some more. I won't. I can have compassion for you while having a strong boundary and saying I'm not going to tolerate your bullshit. And, you know, I realize that people are tired and they're fed up, and there's been a lot of shit going on in this world, and people are emotional, and I suggest everybody start going within and looking at that if you want to live a happy life. Because if we're running off of our triggers, we're never going to be happy. Not only that, but we're going to drive people away from us. So I just want to say, as much love and compassion as I have for everybody, I'm not going to put up with people's crap just because they're having a triggering moment. Look within. If you feel the need to get on my channel and be rude to me because something I said triggered you, look within. But I do this for free because I care about people. It's really basically that simple. I started this because I saw that people had a need for something inspiring or something healing. That's why it started. I did this, it's kind of the same reason why I make my boyfriend's lunch in the morning. I see that he has a need. For him to have time to get up, take a shower, get himself ready, and feel human before going out the door, and still get a little bit of rest at night, which isn't much because we get up super early. For him to have a good lunch, he would have to either get up earlier, she already gets up at 3, or I can see that he has a need and I can make his lunch for him while he's doing those things. It's a little act of love that I have for him. And I do that out of the, you know, out of the kindness of my heart. Not because it's my job, not because it's expected, but because I love him and I see that he has a need, and because he's my partner. Teamwork gets the job done faster, right? So I make his lunch while he's doing that, and that way he gets to come out and not hustle quite as much in the morning. So I do these readings as an act of love. But if my boyfriend were to be rude to me and say, I didn't make his sandwich right, or the lettuce should have been on the bottom, not the top. Seriously, that asinine of a statement. Or whatever. You know what I would do? I would stop making his lunch. Because if it can't be appreciated, I'm not going to do it. So, obviously with this channel, I have a lot of people that appreciate it. They send me tons of love. You guys send me so much love, caring, and support. It's amazing. But it's not my job. I do this as a free service. So this channel isn't monetized. I'm not making any money off of it. I don't need the likes or the clicks. It's not my income. Like, this is a free service. Yes, I'm giving you a free service of the work that I do that is my income. But this piece is for free, right? So this isn't monetized. So unlike a lot of people who are looking for those comments, whether they're rude or positive, because a comment is a comment, and it helps with the income that they're earning from the monetization. I'm not looking for any of that, right? This is just a free service for those of you who resonate and feel like you're getting something positive from it. And the whole intention of this is healing. For me, that's first and foremost the healing. And then the community and the support and the love and being able to pray for each other when when somebody gets on and says, they've got this going on. Community, right? And then the sharing, giving something back in the world, because I'm a big proponent of giving back, right? So that means I don't need your comments to earn my income. I love reading the comments that are nice. But when I get a rude comment, I just think to myself, do you people know how ignorant this makes you look? And that's the honest to God's truth. That's the first thing I think. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking, and if people are just giving rude comments just to give rude comments, and it seems as though you've mostly been rude, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to block you from being able to comment on the channel, because it's low vibrational, and really the whole point of this channel for me is to get the vibes high, to get the healing going, to get the support, the comfort, the community, the compassion, the healing, the love, the joy, the sharing in something of like minds, because I know a lot of people feel lonely. It's really about that for me. So rude comments just bring the vibe down, and if you can't behave, I'm just going to block you from being on the channel, from being able to comment. It's just that simple. Like, do some self-reflecting. Go within, see why you're triggered, and see why you feel the need to say something bitchy to someone like me who's not being bitchy to you. See why you're doing that. Do your work. Do your own inner work. I've had to do mine. And I do have boundaries, and I'm just not going to put up with it. I don't want the negativity. I just don't want it. So, with that being said, most of you are always very, very loving and kind, but those few little negative Nancy's, when my son started working in public service, I said to him, you can have 100 good customers in a day, and you'll get one shithead that can be the worst. And it can really impact you if you let it. You got to protect yourself, right, from that energy. Don't allow it to impact you. And so with this, it's like, well, yeah, we want to protect our energy and the energy of the channel. And a negative comment, even though it's written, it still holds negativity. And it's putting negativity on the chat. That's a negative energy. And it's putting negative energy on the channel. And I don't want the channel to be about negativity, so I'll just stop people from being able to comment. That's just how it's going to be. So, just wanted you to all know that. All right. So, first thing I want to do, I guess I'm going to take from my Deviant Moon deck, which, in my humble opinion, is really, really cool. I love the artwork. I just think it's really cool and unique. And I'm going to see, I just want to see the energy for today. You know, so here's what's going on in my humble opinion. And, you know, it's just my opinion. But there's a lot of, the mainstream media just refuses to pick up the good stories that are not in alignment with their agenda pushing. And like your local, I'm talking local now. So look at your local news stations. It's always good to look at them to see what they're spewing. It's good to be educated, not inundated. But the local news stations just don't want to pick up on anything that shows a true movement against this crazy Marxist left-wing agenda. And we all know that the mainstream media, as far as world coverage, has been putting little droplets in here and there, but still not to the degree that really makes people wake up and take notice. So now, I know most of us don't get our news. We only go there to look to see what's being spewed and to keep us out of that bias echo chamber, right? Because we want to see what's being said, who's saying what. Education, not inundation. But I really do feel like if the news stations don't start being a little more honest, there are some people who are very, very much brainwashed, as we talked about yesterday with the sheep being herded in a particular direction. I mean, you can see the brainwashing with the individuals that are acting out and doing ridiculous things, right? I really don't think that they're going to be able to shift gears unless, because that's the only place they'll get their information. That and CIA generated memes. I don't see how they'll be able to shift their perspective if they're only given one perspective by the news media. So we're going to look into MSM as soon as we get a one card pull on the energy and how that stands today. So today is the day that we call Thursday, in the month that we call April, on the date that we call the 3rd, which represents joy. 3 always represents joy. In the year that we call 2025, which is an year of completion, ending cycles. Breaks down to a 9-year. So let's see, what is the energy for today? Please and thank you. With one card. The Two of Rods. So with this, it's working to create abundance. It's creating balance in the abundance field. Garlic is always about abundance, you guys. So 2 is like, it's not a beginning, it's the beginning of a harvest. So the seeds have already been planted, and now you're harvesting your garlic, which is a form of abundance. So there's some sort of harvesting going on today. The energy is being able to create balanced abundance, beginning to be able to harvest some of the abundance. In other words, the seeds were planted, the crop was grown, and now we're able to begin reaping what we sow, pulling in the abundance of the harvest. So that's an interesting card for today, overall energy for today, you guys. So, yeah, that's it. And so then the personal advice for all of us would obviously be, to stay focused and know that the fruits of our labor are going to pay off as long as we're still willing to put the work into it. In other words, don't let the fruits of our labor rot out there in the field. We've got to put the work into it to be able to reap the rewards of it, right? So that's today's energy. Beginning to be able to harvest what was planted, seeded, and grown already a while ago. So the beginning of reaping what we sow. And I would just like a story around that. I don't know about you folks, so just give me a quick story around that, please, and thank you. It snowed last night. It's raining now. Mud season. Oh, it's so muddy here. And I guess it's going to continue to snow and rain throughout the weekend. So that's good. It's so muddy when I do my chores. And, poor Luke. He has to exercise. He has got to run. He has got to play. He has to. And so, we're out there exercising him, and he's just getting sopping wet and covered in mud, and then it's a backbreaker coming in and having to clean him all up. But, he has to exercise. Spring isn't my favorite season, you guys. I like that we're losing the snow and that flowers and things are going to start coming up, but spring isn't my favorite season here because we get a lot of mud and then the black flies come. So I'm more of a summer, fall, winter girl. And it took me years to love fall because I used to get depressed as I watched everything kind of die off. But I did a lot of work around that, and now I can love that season as well. And it's not that I hate spring, it's just, it's not my favorite out of the 4 seasons. All right, so let's get a story, you guys. Let them tell us a little bit about this, this card here. Camera angle. Maybe I need to put you back a little bit. I don't know. Does that help? That helps quite a bit, I think. Jeez, I'm trying. Trying. All right. So let's get a story. One card wanted to fall. Oh, a few cards wanted to fall. So let's look at that pathway. All right, 3 cards wanted to fall. Give us that pathway. Karma. It's karmic. It's karmic that there becomes a balance on this earth plane within the earthly pleasures field. I was just talking to you about abundance, right? Reaping what we sow. So this is the pathway. Karmic Wheel of Fortune time, where balance is created on the earth plane with the assets. There are things we haven't looked at, things we haven't seen, kind of refuse to see, that has impacted this imbalance. So let's see what else they've got to say. That's that pathway. Oh boy. This is interesting because this is going to kind of play in, I think, into my asking some questions about the MSM. All right, so let's just take a look. So they're telling us that the Wheel of Fortune has come back around. Little story around today being the beginning of a harvest. The Wheel of Fortune, karmic moment, like this is the universe in motion, you guys. Creating some balance here on the earth plane within the asset system, because there's been stuff going on within the asset system things that don't feel good, people don't want to look at. They don't know. They could know, they've refused to look at. So I would say this is something to do with, you know, the way money has been made off of people, right? And the universe is saying no more of this. And we're going to bring balance back in with that Two of Pentacles, because there's been a great imbalance. And it's going to become a situation where people are going to have to see kind of what they've refused to see, even though they've been told, you guys, and they do know. Because if you look at her, lighting's not great because it's a rainy morning. If you look at her, do you see how her hair is coming off of her crown and it's lit up? It's lit up. So she knows something, but it upsets her with these cups. So she's made a conscious choice to look away, because she doesn't want to be impacted and have to feel what it feels like to know what she knows. Does that make sense to you? So that's what fell out. So that's what fell out. And then more of that story is, you know, people have been very caught up. We've got the Lovers. This is big picture. People have been really caught up and consumed in themselves and the things that they're passionate about personally. And while they've been so self-consumed, we've been getting bitten. Yeah, bitten. Whoop. Let me pick it up. Get the dropsies. So while we've been self-consumed, we've been being bitten. And there have been things, obviously, that have come out that we know. Now we know people don't want to feel it. It feels too big, too icky, too ungreat. So make a conscious choice to ignore what we know, pretend it's not real, and not have to feel what it feels like to hold that knowledge. Now, these would be the people that aren't us, because we hold that knowledge and we feel it. We have to carry that with us every day. And it feels very lonely sometimes when there aren't a lot of people around you that also carry the weight of that emotion and that knowing. And it looks to me like the universe is saying that in order to bring balance back here, honestly, these things have to be looked at and felt by all. And that's why I said this is kind of leading right into the MSM question that I want to ask, because a lot of people just choose to only view that as their source of information, and they laugh at the thought of going elsewhere and digging and doing research, and you know. So how are they going to know and feel if it's not delivered to those people that count on that only via means of that, right? So yeah, during the self-consumption, we've been getting bitten. Next to that, we have a child card, and next to that, we also have another child card. Now, let me explain this to you, because as you guys know, I am an intuitive reader. So this is what these cards mean to me. So let's start with this one. So we have the 5. That's great change. That's also chaos. We have the adult screaming at the little person. See how she's bigger? This is a littler person. That's a child. She's screaming. She can be abusive, right? She's not treating him well. He doesn't want to hear it. He's upset. He's being put in a not great position. If you look down here, there are cups that are spilled, and there's blood in them, right? So depending on the question we're asking or the story we're looking for would depend on how you would read this, right? And I go into this detail because I know a lot of you are starting to read. And also because I want you to understand the messages that I'm seeing in the cards. But I know a lot of you are learning to read, and a lot of you are going about the business of doing it as an intuitive reader rather than a traditional reader. And so looking at the cards and really studying them and seeing what you can see in them and seeing what you feel in them and seeing all the different stories that are in them will make you a stronger, more confident reader. So that's why I share these things with you folks. So anyway, in regards to, we're beginning to create a harvest, reap the rewards of the seeds that's been planted and the fruit that's grown. And then the 3 cards that came out, the Wheel of Fortune saying, this is karmic and universal. The world has been imbalanced, and we need to create the balance with that too. And that there's a knowing but a not wanting to accept of things. What would that be? For me, that would be what happens to our children. That would be that A word, right? The A word that we know they source from tortured victims. Mostly the children, because they can really, they get more from them. So while we've been self-consumed, we've been being bitten because we haven't been paying attention, and this stuff has been going on under our noses, and our children have been victimized, right? And then all for money. Because when you look at this card, for me, this is an assets card, obviously, because it's the Pentacle. But if you look at her, she's out walking, and she's got something to her, right? For me, she's walking her pet or her child, something that she loves that is smaller than her that she needs to protect. And that's why she's got it hooked to her, so that, you know, this child or this pet can't run away and be in danger, because she loves them, because she considers her family or her pet an asset. Our families are our assets. Our assets are anything that we deem important, that we deem of value. And so for me, this is a pet or a children card. So in this reading, we know what they do to animals, and we know what they do to children. And so in this reading, the way this is being presented, it's showing that we haven't been paying attention. And so, therefore, if you look at the ankle there, getting bitten, right? The children have been suffering and used as a source of money by these Luciferian, satanic, pedophile, horrid, evil cults. And it's saying that today we begin a harvest there. So when you think of the story that's told, I think what they're saying is we've known, we've planted seeds, we've shared what we could with people, we've known about the things that were hidden, right? And many have known but chosen not to look because it doesn't feel good. They chose to take that information and consider it lies. So I believe what they're saying here is that as of today, 2 things. Well, 3 actually. There's going to be some news, more and more news around the child trafficking and human trafficking, okay? There's going to be a waking up and people having to feel what this feels like to carry this knowledge, because there's going to be more news around it. There's going to be an exposure of the money that's made there, but there's also going to be a taken away of the money they're making there. So an abundance would be, you can either work to make it or you can work to save it. And if we're stopping human traffickers and we're investigating money and we're looking at U.S. aid and we see what they're funding, these backdoor operations that are just money laundering operations that people like you and I understand are actually going to the victimization of children and all humans, I mean, there's organ harvesting and all forms of horrible things, then we're stopping that money flow, which also gives us abundance. So they're wanting to talk about this, the knowledge that hasn't been looked at, the balance in the finances that will be created by bringing this news out, by forcing people to see the truth around things, and how these dark people have profited off of humans for a long time. So that's a big theme of today. So I think you're going to see a lot more talk from a lot more different people around this problem. So did I read that correctly, and did I deliver the message in a way that you would have hoped me to deliver it? And yeah, just with one card, please and thank you. And that does lead me right into, sets me right up for the questions that I have about, the question that I have about the mainstream media. You know, if it's ever going to play a significant role or not. But with one card, please and thank you, did I get that correct? Did I read that correctly? I'm shuffling one more time, you guys. And then I'm going to cut them. That was a bad shuffle, so I'm going to do it again. These cards are big. My hands are short and stumpy. They're thicker than the other cards, and they're thicker in depth, and they're also like the card itself is very thick, almost cardboardy, and so just a little more difficult to shuffle, but I love them. With one card, I got that right. That's the Emperor. In this deck, for me, the Emperor isn't the twin flame to the Empress. In this deck, for me, the Emperor represents those in power that pretend to be one thing while doing anything they can to step on anyone they can to hold their power, right? Willing to hurt anything and anyone to hold their power. So that would be the secondary message that yes, there's going to be more and more exposure here in this regard. All right, you guys, so there's that. Let me get a sip of my coffee. And now I'm just looking for a quick story on the MSM. So as I said, there are a lot of people that only rely on that and wouldn't rely on anything but the mainstream media to get their news. I know a lot of people have moved away from that and are probably still moving away from that. However, there's a good majority of people that we would consider the sheep. We would consider the sleepers. I say the sheep because they're the ones that are easily directed, right? That's why you have your neighbors going out and keying Teslas, because they've been easily manipulated and directed like sheep. So there are those people that will never turn off the news, and it's sad because they're probably very good people, I imagine, that have been deeply brainwashed and are under a trance. And so I'm wondering if the mainstream media is ever going to flip its tune and really start covering some significant stories in a way where those people wouldn't scoff at them, where they would be presented in a way that those types of people can kind of accept them as truths. So will the mainstream media begin telling truths, more truths, enough truths to help to wake up the people that have really, really, really been manipulated? Please and thank you. Just with one card. Yeah, eventually they're going to tell enough truths so that it's going to begin to affect the people that will only go to that source for news. The Empress in this, she's very healing, obviously. You can look at her and see She's caring, she's loving, she's beautiful. You know, she's got the bloomed flower. She's all about the healing and the joy, because there's the 3, right? So yeah, eventually they will start reporting enough of the new stuff so that people will have to look and it will start to integrate. So I personally know a bunch of people that are acting out horrifically and have been since 2020. And they were nice people. They were nice people who have become very consumed with hate. And their way of the highway. And, you know, I mean, really consumed. So in my humble opinion, you guys, and it's not even just my humble opinion, it's just fact. The more negative we are, the more we invite negative energy into our lives. And that negativity will attach to us. And before you know it, you're not even driving your own vessel. Something else very negative is in control of you. And you don't realize it. And I believe that's what's happened to a good portion of the population. And this is why people that you once knew that were very loving, caring individuals have been spewing things like, you didn't get your vaccine, I hope you die. And you voted for Trump, you should die. And all of these horrible things, you know, and oh, you're driving a Tesla? Well, we don't like Elon, so we're going to damage your personal property, because how dare you drive a vehicle that you bought and paid for long before Elon started doing what he's doing. When we don't like Elon, these people make no sense. It's like they're crazy. They're being driven. Their vessels are being driven by something else, you guys. So how are we going to lift their vibrations so that these dark energies start floating off of them so that they can come back into themselves and start driving their own vessels, or at least partially again? Healing. So let me just ask that. So in the same way that people have been manipulated and the dark energy has consumed them, will there be healing frequencies, or are there already healing frequencies that are being put onto the TV and the news to help break the spells that a lot of these people are under? Please and thank you. Because remember, they used programming with the flashing of the lights and the colors and the sound and the frequency and the volume at which certain things would come in. You know how that's part of the frequency, right? But the commercials always come in so loud, and then certain parts of your movie are amplified and come in really loud. This is all programming. It's all techniques. So have they already started putting the healing vibrations into the same devices that were once brainwashing people? Please and thank you. Please and thank you. That's kind of slippery, so I want to keep it. Just want to see. Yeah, there's going to be a huge tower moment. So that would be my yes with the tower. And that's a huge shift. This is a huge shift. So there's going to be there's already a huge shift in vibration that's going on the TV. So they might not be saying the news yet, but there's already a healing vibration that's a huge shift from what it was that's happening via the programming. And because that slipped, I still want to pull, so we'll get a little story. Yeah, new vibrations. New vibrations. You know, not obvious, not things that you would necessarily see. Well, I can see that you can't see these that good, so I'm going to pick them up. So just let me lay them, and then I'm going to pick them up and explain them to you. All right, so yes, there's already some healing, you guys, in devices that they've been programming people with. A huge shift in the healing vibration, okay? And then again, we got that other yes with the swords. That would be the healing vibration affecting the crown chakra. So new frequencies that have come in. Not things that you would outwardly notice, right? So with this card, you don't see that there's been a change, but there's certainly a different feeling to it. So things have been shifted in a way that people aren't outwardly seeing, but there's a different vibration, a different feeling to these networks, to the programs that have been programming people. And it feels different with the vibration. The way that things used to be are ending. So the hidden things, that which was hidden from people who were just being entertained and enjoying themselves, it's coming to an end. And then we've got that Seven of Swords. So that's technology. That's the technology that we're talking about, right? And you can see how damaging it was. So the technology was very damaging. And now there's something new because it ended. Because the way, that chaotic way ended. And why did it end? Because we've got that 7 above this chaos. And that spirit. Can you see that? I don't know. That spirit. 7 is the seeker of truth and knowledge. So we're talking about the MSM. We're talking about frequency. We're talking about words. So this is the seeker of truth and knowledge. We have another 7 here, seeking truth and knowledge. So even though you may not see that there's a difference, there's a different feeling to it, there's a different vibration to it, this old chaotic vibration has come to end. And now there is going to be truth and knowledge that's dripped out. But most importantly, there's a huge vibrational shift, which is helping people to break this spell, you guys. Let's see if they just want to say a couple more things. I won't shuffle them. I'll just keep taking. The Queen of Cups. And then we have joy. Joy. We've got 2 cups here. And then we have more cups here. So right now, it's mostly about the feelings. But it looks to me like, okay, so the chaotic way has ended because Spirit says it's time. Because we are in this universal time of change, right? Spirit says it's time to end this chaos. People's cups are going to run over, which means there will be things coming through with the frequency and possibly also the words that create an abundance of feeling in people. And it will engulf them. And it is a good thing. But with this card, you can see that this Fool is actually spilling the emotions out on their heads. So I'm going to say 3% of these people will always just dump out their feelings and dump out the truth and not get excited and not really join in the celebration with the rest of us. About 3%. Because they're never going to be able to accept the truth about those kids. It's just going to be easier for them to deny that than anything else. So the children will create the cup overflowing, the abundance of emotions. And the children will also create the joy because we're going to want to come together in saving them, I'm sure. But it's also going to be the thing that creates some people to just stay stuck. And that's just kind of how it is. So that's what I'm getting, at least, you guys. So, you know, that's what I'm getting. Take from it what you will. Take what resonates to you. Toss the rest. That's how we do it. So now with that being said, can you leave us with one card as the energy stands for the information that you've given us today? Thank you for the information that you've given us. As the energy stands right now, is there anything that you want to leave us with that you know, we can focus on, or for advice, or just enlightenment, or, you know, insight as we close out this reading, please and thank you. One more shuffle. Let's cut them and see what we get. What are they leaving with us? Ugh, what are they leaving us with? That Seven of Swords. So, on a personal note, what do they want to say to us? They want us to be careful with our own words and our own thoughts. They want us to know that our vibration is very much connected to the way we're thinking and the way we're speaking. So they want us to be careful with our words and our thoughts, because they can do a lot of damage and create a very low vibration, you guys. This guy is in danger. He's at risk. He's down on the ground. He's low, right? And Spirit wants us to be always seeking truth and knowledge, but to stay in those high vibrational places and not use our words hatefully and not allow our thoughts to drop our vibration, but to keep ourselves up. So that's what they want to leave us with as I close out this reading. So I hope that you found a little value in this. Once I detail the chair, I'll bring it back on and I'll show you the details before I go on to do the rest. But yeah, I'll share it with you. I'd see a few people wanted to see what I was up to with these chairs. When I'm done with these chairs, I'm going to do the table, the little table, my little table. I'm doing that little table to match, you guys. So, and I want to have it done by mid-April. That's my goal. All right, so I love you all very much. I hope that you have a wonderful, amazing, beautiful, abundant day full of joy and happiness and love and high vibes and healing. And no matter what's going on the world stage outside of yourself, that you're able to stay in that vibration of inner peace and happiness, and just keep filling yourself up with that love. See it going into the earth, filling the earth, coming up out of the earth, touching everything upon the earth, going out into the ethers, touching everything out into the ethers, and then filling you back up with it again. Until next time, you guys, I love you all very much. Have an amazing day. I'll see you soonish. Bye.